recording now. And switch to this, and then re-plug in the HDMI.
Yeah.
I know. This is really fascinating.
Why is this being weird?
It's on site.
Did you also record John?
Yes.
All right.
All right. Is it up?
Let's pray to the projector that it starts working.
There we go. There we go.
Thanks, Arsene.
Thank you, Arsene. It worked.
All right.
I
All right.
tried my best.
All right.
All right. Yep.
It's working now. Sign up for attendance if you haven't already. It's gonna be at the end. So.
Yeah. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
Yep.
But it's ready to go now. So we can get started.
Well, this talk is about portfolios and the game miner.
Ooh.
The game miner is cool.
Yes.
And I think that's about it. Thank you everybody for attending the talk. It was very nice to see all of you here.
Anyway, so we got some. We have a contents summary. We're gonna do the. We'll talk about the upcoming game jam. We're gonna talk about this new alumni help form. We're gonna have the portfolio talk and the minor talk.
The game jam. So it will be from 20th to 22nd of February, so next month. And it will be in collaboration with other universities. We still don't know. I think at least 5 already signed up at this point. So maybe more, but we'll see how it goes. So I would, let's say, recommend going because you're not only working with people with whom you have the ability to work in the major or minor, but also maybe with the people from other universities and such.
Also, the hatch. They moved it. They
Yeah,
moved the
it's
hatch. It's gone. No more.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gone
died.
and forgotten.
Yeah.
I don't remember where.
Now it's just concrete. I pressed the third elevator floor and opened the doors and there's just concrete. They filled it in.
They filled it.
Yeah. And
But
this is the alumni form. It's first come, first serve. So I would suggest start figuring it out as soon as you can. Basically, a bunch of alumni were asked nicely how would they be able to help current students. And this is the form which will help you us connect you with the alumni that filled out that form. There's no audio people there, only programmers, designers, artists, and production, which is very funny because there's over 50 alumni responded. And they can help you out with a variety of things, such as portfolio review, project advice, and a lot of other cool things. It's very short and sweet because the main part of the form is just to know that there is interest from you as a specific person, and then just like me manually going through the data because I'm the only one who's allowed to look at it legally.
Also, one more piece of information about the hatch. So they're moving the hatch to a building that's currently being constructed on campus. So it's not there yet, obviously. But for now, the hatch is temporarily at the MSU Union. So we're still not entirely sure if it's this next game jam is going to be at the Union, wherever the temporary hatch location is, or like here at ComArts. So we'll share more information about that when we figure out the location and all that. Yes.
Yes.
You said the new hatch at the Union. Do you mean there's just a room at the Union that's been labeled the new hatch, or is there actually transfer from the previous one?
So it's like a temporary hatch, as they move
A room.
to a building that's being under construction. Yeah.
I didn't
that's
think
a good
so. I don't
question.
know.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Bathroom chair.
We'll have
I
to-
know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
filled in.
Anyways.
Got stuck in the
I know.
concrete.
Now to get to the bulk of this presentation, we're gonna start with resume advice.
Resume advice. All right. So the resume, it's the thing that you spam to 1 billion employers. Okay. It's the piece of paper that is a synopsis of everything that you've done and all your skills and kind of you as a person. To style your resume, make sure your resume is readable. People who are looking through any application have to sift through a bunch of them, and they don't really want to spend a ton of time on each one. So you have to make sure that your resume can be read very quickly and easily. So in order to achieve that, you want simple colors, usually just black on a white background is the most common format, and it's also the most printable. You can have other colors, but try to have darker colors and not use yellow or something. Make sure it's legible. Use a normal font that's easy to read. You don't have to use Arial or Times New Roman, but you don't have to use those fonts. But just use something that is pretty easy to read at a small size. And then lastly, make sure that it's aligned properly. emphasize like what the reader should view as most important. So put like the thing that you're most proudest at the top, depending on how you like order things. And we'll talk more about like the sections that you put in just a moment. So a couple more must-haves about your resume. It is one page. Do not have multiple pages of your resume. It should be a one pager that you print. Make sure you have all your contact info on it. Tailor it to what you're applying for. If you are thinking about applying to multiple different types of roles, make resumes for multiple types of roles that are kind of like more focused on like the specific role that you're applying for. For highlights, again, like highlight what you did well, like be a little liberal with it. And then lastly, definitely make sure to send your resume to other people. Other people are willing to look over your stuff, and it's a good idea to just like get other people to proofread it so that you can like just have it, so that you can like refine it a little bit. And we can get more into that right now. So, well, okay, I kind of just already went through this, to be honest. Personal info. This is just a little bit, basically just your contact information, your name. That's basically it. Experience. This is where you write like the main things that you've worked on. Like if you've been on a team, if you've been on like a big project that you're proud of. You don't usually have to actually try to avoid saying that it's for school. Like you can just say, oh, I worked on a team with this thing. You don't have to say, oh, I worked on a class project. Like nobody needs to know that it's for a class project. And it is good to show that like you do work outside of like outside of a closed curriculum. Make sure to, just choose relevant experience to whatever you're applying for. Also use effective language. Don't go too crazy with it, but like just describe what's going on. Like write like a little summary, some bullet points, and all that. For education, include like a start and end date. You don't need to put ongoing for the education part specifically. You just need to put like when you start and when you end. That's it. And then if you received any awards or scholarships, you should also definitely put them up here because those do matter to employers, and your GPA as well. Okay, skills. So hard and soft skills. Usually people will have a section on their resume that shows like the software they can use, and then also like maybe the soft skills as well. But that can be a little ambiguous. Most people that I've spoken to have said like, oh, we figure out somebody's soft skills just like during the actual interview when you speak to them. Outside of that, just use words or phrases directly from the job posting. Make sure that when you're like, if let's say like you're applying to something and it says, oh, need experience in like Maya and need experience in Blender. Make sure that Maya and Blender are like words that are on your resume somewhere, because people do, even if people don't want to admit it, but people do use like ATS systems, applicant tracking systems, to sift through a bunch of resumes, and your resume can get sifted away if you don't have like certain like words that they also want like to put. And those are most commonly like tools and things like that. It's just to make sure that like you have like used these tools. It's like one way that they filter through stuff. The game dev minor doesn't do this, obviously, because they only have like up to like I think like 100 applications ish like per semester. That's on the higher end though. It can be like 100 to 40 or whatever. Yeah, that's about it. Extracurriculars. If you have leadership experience, you can put those up as well. Just write a little bit about it, just like as experience, just as before. Like, and yeah, that's basically it. Nothing too crazy there. Also, some people put a summary at the top of their resume just to like describe themselves a little bit. No members of our e-board have summaries, so you couldn't have an example up here. But that is a thing that some people do. I don't really know if it's still in fashion. No advisor or employer has told me anything good or bad about them. So
Sometimes it's recommended for more engineering students. Like if you have more of a specific, to be honest, if everything on your resume is very specific and very technical, a summary to show just a bit more of your personality might go well with it. But it is not often seen on game dev portfolios and resumes.
and also uses up valuable space. So
Yeah.
you do have to consider if you actually want to put it there. And yeah, next we can move on to portfolios.
So, what are portfolios? Well, they're very important. They show any prospective. Oh yeah.
So if we speak on resumes, you should probably mention VMark.
Say that again.
You should probably mention VMark for resumes, like as a point.
What's VMOC?
Over Leafa isn't the same.
No,
Oh.
Handshake, the US platform, has like an inbuilt resume
Oh
building
yeah.
slash creating website called Dima.
Oh,
I don't think I've
I was gonna mention it on my slide, but I wanted to mention Overleafa because from what I heard, that I didn't hear it by the name VMUG, just the handshake thing. That it's not the best with ATMs, but I just heard it from a random person, so I don't know. I just know for a fact that Overleaf is one of the best for it because it's literally like latex code. And yes, because of that, it's a bit harder to work with it if you are not a programmer. But to be honest, you can just figure it out by poking at it. Yeah. But I'll mention it a bit in more detail later.
All right. So yeah, portfolios, they show any prospective employer your level in your skills, your accomplishments, and your work experience. You're gonna want to keep any kind of reading short in a portfolio. We actually have a video of somebody going through a portfolio and like describing what they see, and the speed at which they go at is skimming at most. So you want to keep it a short read. Don't restate points on your resume; they already have it. You want to highlight your role in projects and your role, your contributions, and any kind of responsibilities you held outside of any the specific like assets or design work or scripting or anything like that. You want to make it really easy to navigate, and it's your main way of selling yourself. You want it to look good, pretty as well. So for you make a portfolio using a website. You make a website. You can use an ArtStation if that's your chosen discipline. For audio, you might make demo reels. It's optional, but it's a pretty good. It's good practice to get a domain, so that it's like because as an example, like my portfolio is just my first and last name .me because it was admittedly cheaper than buying the .com domain. So it's yeah, so get a domain.
another popular free alternative is Google Sites as well.
Google Sites, yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty good option.
Some people do it on Git. I saw a person doing a portfolio in their like Google Slides, which was, let's say, it was unexpected, but like it was not bad.
Okay.
I would not recommend doing it, but if you have to make a portfolio today and present it tomorrow, it's a fast alternative.
Yeah.
Information.
For art, what?
Talk to the mic.
What?
Talk to.
Talk to them.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. For art portfolios, ArtStation is like the most popular place to put art if you're like primarily an artist and you want to focus on that. For things to include, include information about like the software, like how much time it took, and also like definitely show like work in progress images. It's really important to people to see like your process. Like you can show the end result, but you also need to show like what like your workflow is like and what it's like to as you like build something from the ground up. So work in progress photos are very important for art portfolios. And lastly, like the specialization is pretty important as well. To be honest, I'm not really a 3D artist. I don't have an ArtStation, but I'm the closest to an artist currently present at the eBoard at the moment. So yeah.
You said it's design.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. Going back to design portfolios. Design is about showing your design portfolios are really about showing your process. It's extremely important to get that down because that's kind of what design is. It is everything is a process, but with design, the process and how you do it, go about it is very important. Employers want to know that the process that you've developed and you actively work on is similar or works with whatever process they have their designers work on for their games. So, but specifics aside, generally you want to make portfolios you want to format them very well. You want to make them very accessible. You don't hide anything in weird places. Everything should be very apparent and visible and readable and legible. You're gonna want for the materials you can do like images of like your level design, images of block. If you're doing level design, images of any kind of blockouts or any kind of sketches you made is very important. And if you're doing like tech design and you're prototyping any kind of scripts, UI UX, you want wireframes, systems or gameplay design, any kind of spreadsheets of data, any kind of mock out sketches of how any of the systems will work, how maybe how hitboxes work, or how certain detection systems work. Any kind of work in progress thing is very important, but also showing that it was fully completed, showing any kind of finalized version of it and how it works in a GIF or otherwise a walkthrough video, which is the next point, with going through parts of the game that you designed and explaining how it works, explaining behind the scenes, and showing the final product. Because for design portfolios, a really good way to show that your design process works is to show that it made it all the way through. And yeah, I already talked on the process side of things, so let's move on to programming.
So for programming, the purpose is to show in the project what projects did you do, that you do stuff in general. Like, it's important not only that you do something specific connected to something like, I don't know, if you're applying to Blizzard, they of course would want to see stuff that's similar to what they've done previously because you will work for them. But it's also important for you to show that you can do other things, because yes, you can be hired as a person who knows and specializes in one very, very, very specific niche, but it does not show them that you can learn and you can improve and you're a person who actually does stuff. So doing that is very important. And at the same time, it should be quite technically focused. So if you have a project, you should focus about the specific things that are programming related and specific things that you did. So, for example, if I worked on a game jam project where I worked on shaders, I would say, I worked on this game jam project, small description of a project, and then say, I did I used specifying everything by name, everything I use, so they know that that's the thing that you use, and yes, that skill set will roughly apply to what we're trying to do. I'm more of going for a lot of stuff rather a lot of like also good stuff, but a lot of stuff, so people can basically pick and choose what they prefer. And same thing for resumes. If you have a lot of things, you can just more or less swap pieces to send out to different companies based on their needs. So, for example, if I'm applying to a company that wants a UI programmer, and yeah, I'm pretty good with UI, I can do UI. Then I just basically swap out the experiences and focus a bit more on UI in both resume, and if I can rewrite some parts of my portfolio to mention it slightly more. Stuff like that. But it really does depend whether or not you want to focus on the amount of applications or on like a lot of applications where you focus not a lot of effort on each one, or a few, but you focus a lot of effort. But I'll mention it later.
Audio portfolios. So most audio people have a demo reel. This is a video that you have that's full of all the audio that you made, usually in a year or during a project term. It's a good way to show off like the audio effects that you made, and usually there's like a video included with it. So if you made like sound effects for a game, for example, you would have like the sound effects that you have like over like the game footage. What exactly did you do in your reel? Like you should again like make sure that like everything in the reel is honest and everything. You should also mention like the tools that you use, like just in general. Also show your again like with all these, just show your process, and then you should provide detailed overviews of like past projects related to the path of sound design, and just like yeah, just again show your process. That's like the main like thing behind these. Don't just show the end product. Show how you got there, and like provide screenshots and stories and all that.
For production, it's a very different story from a lot of things we mentioned before. So while in stuff like design or programming or yada yada yada, you can focus on the specific part that you did. In production, it matters much more how it turned out, because if you were able to, if your project turned out well and you were on production for that project, it stands to at least somewhat to showcase your ability to do things. At the same time, focusing on stuff, how you specifically planned through it, how was everything specifically organized, what is your specific situation. So instead of focusing on something specific that was done by you, like programming, I wrote this system, you have to focus on more of a larger picture. What is the situation? What was done in the situation to succeed? Why did we succeed? Why we did not succeed? So also learning what lessons have we learned, because employers and literally everybody who works with you would want to know that you are free to learn and you want to learn stuff. Oh yeah, cover letters.
Cover letters.
Woo. Basically, cover letter is something that you add on top of your resume that can more or less show you as more of a person. Like resume is focused on like I did that, I worked on this, this is what, and yada yada yada. Cover letter is expanding on some specific points that usually are more applicable to the specific job you're applying to. So, for example, if I was applying to a company that wants me to develop Unity stuff for automobiles to test out their self-driving software, and I would not focus as much on points in my resume that would be more about like in general programming, but I would write the cover. I would still have that, but I would write the cover letter not about that, but about stuff that is more directly tied to it. Basically, it's an addition to your cover letter, to your resume to show that you are a person and what you're doing. Here's an example of how it can look, but it's just basically a page of text.
To be honest, like this cover letter example is really long, but I've heard from a lot of people that you actually should have like just a paragraph or two maximum, and not like write a massive wall. It can really depend though, but I have heard that like it should be smaller than like a giant wall.
Yeah, it depends on whether or not you think a person will read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Well, important parts about it is like, basically having a header, what you are, personal information, yada yada yada. Saying hi because convention, and just splitting everything in paragraphs, explaining like yourself and who you are, showing yourself off, and in general, just explain a specific part of your resume in more detail. If somebody can want to, they can look at the formatting stuff, because I don't think the formatting is the necessary important part. I think the information that you're trying to convey is the most important part here. But saying something like "bye, best regards," yada yada, is also convention at the end.
So this is some general advice.
Yeah, basically, keep everything organized. The thing is that in the current job market, the vast majority of people will have to send a large amount of applications. Even if you're very skilled, you basically have to be able to not only to show off yourself, but basically connect with people in a way that will either work well with automated systems such as AI or others, like stuff that reads through your resumes, portfolios, yada yada yada. Or you have to more or less skip the this part of the process by talking directly to people. But that's more of an outdated way of getting jobs. Like, oh, I walked in the front door and I got a job. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but I would not recommend relying on it. You can get lucky, but usually most people don't. So tracking everything that you apply to, every deadline for everything you're planning to apply to, and stuff like that is very important. Just staying organized in general about this entire process. The same thing that I mentioned, people can apply hundreds of resumes. And the thing is that with LinkedIn, it even got worse in the last 2 or 3 years, because basically every online job gets, like, if not thousands, then at least hundreds of applications within the first hour sometimes. Because people automatically apply to a lot of online jobs since they presume that they can work it, and because of that, all of those jobs usually rely on automated systems. But there's some ways of circumventing it. So, for example, you can go more directly to a person who would be hiring you, and asking them directly not to hire you, but what can you do to improve your chances to get in. That would both put you on the radar and also give you some useful feedback. For example, I talked to a person who works at a mobile game development company, and I just asked them, "Oh, your company sounds kind of good. What would I need to do to get in?" And they just, with me not knowing them at all, they went through my entire portfolio, my entire resume, my entire GitHub, and they're like, yeah. So remember that thing your first project on GitHub that you posted before you learned English? Yeah, it has some misspellings. I would fix that. And I'm like, yeah, that's a person who I don't know at all, who put in an insane amount of effort to help. and people do that. Reaching out to people, asking them for help is something that you should do. And now, if I decide to apply to that company, I will have an advantage because they at least know my name. And another way you can do this circumventing sort of thing, to a lesser degree, but still, sometimes if you apply on company's website, it might have something that LinkedIn doesn't. And so there's less competition on that front. So if you see a company posting a batch of jobs on LinkedIn, some of them you might want to check out their website and see if it's there and if there's any extra things there.
And generally, when you look for like jobs on like job boards and all that, if you find something, just go to the company website and see like if that thing is also there. Sometimes the job board will redirect you to the company website, and then there you go, good. But sometimes like, oh, you can just apply. Like applying directly on Handshake, applying directly on LinkedIn is a pretty bad way of doing it unless they like only have that as an option and it's not on the company website.
Yeah, let's just say, as a CSC student, within my past few classes, I saw some people applying to hundreds of things on Handshake. By hundreds, I mean I've literally seen a person scroll through 14 pages of rejection letters. I don't know what their resume is. I was sitting behind them in class, but I'm just saying, be prepared to apply to a lot of things. Oh, yeah. Feel free to reach out to people, to staff, to literally anybody. Oh, that's next slide. Sorry. I got it mixed up.
Make a professional email.
Yeah, make a professional email. If you have your own domain, you can use your own domain. So, for example, for me, it's rsterkier@rsterkier.com or like me@rsterkier.com, stuff like that. But you will see my both resumes and portfolio later.
Yeah.
Feel free to ask people for help. Like, you will not bother them. At the worst case scenario, they will not respond or say no. Oh, shucks. Well, like, you can ask more people. Yeah, that's it. Like, just think about it in like from a different perspective. If you were in the industry and it took you literally 20 minutes to help out somebody, and you got reached out to, the thing is that they don't receive that many like messages from random people because people think that will bother them, and so they don't do it. And because of that, you can do that, and it will actually not bother them.
Yeah.
Basically, be fearless, be brave, and ask people for help.
Pretty much everyone here on the e-board would be willing to like look over a resume or portfolio, given discipline specifics.
Yeah.
Because. Yeah,
And also, again, the alumni help QR code, and it will be like manually connecting you with a specific alumni with their specific experience and skill sets. So yeah, I would very much recommend doing filling it out because yeah, that can help a lot.
Yeah. So here's some examples.
So here's my resume and portfolio. My resume, like again, it's a big list of just stuff. It's meant to be read easily and quickly. So there's just sections, and I used to have sections bolded, but people were like, "Don't bold sections, just," as in like a couple like lines of like a paragraph would be bolded to like emphasize something. They're like, "Don't do that. That makes it difficult to read." And I was like, you know what? It is a little difficult to read. So you just make it easy to read. Add links, like in some cases, because links can be really cool just as a way to add proof. And then I'm a multidisciplinary person, so on my website I have a bunch of pages for like multiple different things, so you can like go around and navigate. But that's because I'm multidisciplinary. So a lot of people do like specialize and get more narrow. So you don't need to have like as many pages as my site does.
Yeah, so this is my site. I got basically a really quickly like about me thing that having any kind of like read more or just like if you have any information that is only like wording. I have a little bit about me, like these are the first couple sentences of my about me, and then immediately a read more link so that people can access any page of my website really quickly, very continuously from whatever they were currently reading. You can scroll down. I've got 3 projects on my homepage where I have a title like image, which honestly could be smaller. My portfolios are still a work in progress a bit, but what is pretty notable is the side information about it. You've got the name, the team size, the role, and immediate list of responsibilities. And I do that for every single project that is on my portfolio, so people know immediately what they're going to get, what they're going to look at when they click read more. And then with my resume, it's pretty dense. I got a lot of things to talk about on my resume. Um, also, there are some things here that go against what we said before. Like I have a couple too many bullet points on my experiences, but at the same time, using a 2-column format, you can fit in more information and generally have a lot of stuff in there. Education at the bottom. That is a bit of portfolio advice I got from multiple alumni, including people who do hiring. People don't actually care that much about your education in the games industry specifically. If you're going into a different field, that's a different story. But projects, my projects tab, which is on the bottom left right now, should be at the very top. That's what they want. They want to see your projects on your portfolio or on your resume and your portfolio. The projects are like the most important thing. Skills, good to list out skills, good to organize the skills. Yeah.
Oh.
So this is the portfolio the portfolio website and resume of Chris Murray, who is one of our board members who's not here at the moment. As you can see, very their resume is very precise. They have very focused things. It's a lot more white space, but they get to it really quickly. They do descriptions of any of their experiences so that people can just read that and be one and done. Their website is comprised out of a projects tab, an about tab, a resume tab. They also keep links to a demo reel of their artwork and an ArtStation portfolio, and they list the projects, their 3 main projects, all on the first page. This is all accessible by the first page, which is very important.
Here's my resume and portfolio. This is a bit scattered pieces of my portfolio. So this is the main part, the first part. It redirects to my CV. This is a CV for more. This is sort of computer science CV, I think. Yeah, because it has education at the upper part. But what I have is basically CVs have to be 1 page. That's they just have to be on this continent. If you're applying in Europe, it can be more than 1 page. But basically, what I have is multiple pages worth of specific skills, specific things that I know, specific things that I did, and then I basically pick and choose, and that's why Overleaf is very useful for it, because I can just literally comment out 1 part of it, and it still will be there, and I can easily add it back in if I'm applying for something different. And basically, if you have 2 pages, you can just literally within 10 minutes specialize your resume to a specific thing that you are applying for and increase your chances to actually get the job quite significantly. Then since I'm a computer science major, I'm not a games major, but I'm much more passionate about games. And here I start with my game portfolio, and then I move on to my general projects portfolio. If they scroll down, I think again I went on more of what will catch attention of a specific person. So I just put in a large amount of projects that I consider to be good. So for example, I have everything from some volunteering work to specifically very business to business sort of thing for translation. I have the game jam projects. I have specific games that I worked on before. Basically, I have everything, and the person just gets to choose what speaks to them the most. Yes, with that approach, it does require much more effort. So instead of polishing up only 1 page or 5 pages about your specific 5 projects that you consider to be the most wow, I kind of spend more or less the same amount of time, but on each of them, and there's like 12 or something, I think. So yeah, quite a bit more effort, and for some people it might not be advisable. But if you want to have it split up across multiple things, I would say doing this seems well. And if you click on more information about this thing, this is it's a part of the game jam about information, and that's a very brief summary of one of the games with the link to the game, so they can actually play it. What did I do for it? What it actually is, and that's it. Very fast, very brief. One important thing: this is LinkedIn. QR code, LinkedIn. Always show your LinkedIn to people. Always. You can talk to. That's why I can message random people on LinkedIn, because they're my second connections or first connections or third connections. and I can message people easily directly without having to pay for LinkedIn Plus or whatnot, whatever they call it. So having a lot of connections on LinkedIn actually helps you to talk directly to people you couldn't otherwise.
Yeah, so this is the portfolio of Aiden Calix. So this is an audio portfolio. So immediately, two labeled demo reels, and then immediately after that, projects for any kind of specific information. Resume is very organized in a neat column format with contact, skills, and education on the side, but with a focus on the previous projects on the right side, with very readable with very readable bullet points, and also with an about me that shows certainly shows character. Uh,
The next pages, next pages are just some more examples of how websites could look for some very more specific things. So you can check out it later, but it's literally the same thing we've been talking about.
One thing I have noticed is that like people who have
let's go back.
one thing I've noticed is that like people who are fully in the industry or like students, if you have something that you're really proud of or something that's like a big landmark thing, have that in like the front page. So like I have a solo project called Parse Rhythm that I've been working on since 2024, and it's like my main like flagship thing. So I put that on the front. And Reed over here has worked with Blizzard on Diablo 4. So they have like Diablo just like right here at the front. And other people who were on Diablo 4 also have Diablo right in the front. So if you have anything that's like your big flagship thing, make sure that that's visible the moment that you click onto the page and you can see it right away. That's a really important thing about these portfolio sites in general.
Yeah.
Okay, but the game design development minor, what in the Jimmy Bond is that? So, the minor.
So the minor, game dev at MSU. We're the number 3 public university in the world for game development, and we've been in the top 10 for at least 13 years, maybe more.
I think more.
Maybe more. We're in terms of both private and public universities, 9th in the world, and I think we've also been in like top 10 in that one for a while as well.
Yeah.
We have a lot of experienced faculty. This is according to the Princeton Review, by the way. We have a lot of experienced faculty from Brian Wynn, Casey O'Donnell, Andrew Dennis, Ricardo, Ryan Thompson. I feel bad I didn't say his last name. Ryan Thompson, Valida, Corey, and Susan. And with stretching across a variety of different disciplines. Outside the minor.
Yeah. So outside the minor, there's the Games and Media. This is the newer thing that was introduced a couple years ago. It's an undergrad. Some of you guys are probably in this. It's an undergrad degree program focused on game development. You can go down the design. You can go down a design and art or a development track, which kind of changes the classes that you have to take to graduate. And it's available to all students. The classes, like you don't need to be in the major to like take some of the games classes. And then there's also the Serious Games certificates. This is kind of like the master's things. This is the master's thing if you want to continue going to MSU like after graduation. It's a 3-course graduate certificate. It's a fully online and hybrid kind of thing. It's available to students enrolled in the graduate program. And it has a couple different faculty. Like there's a couple faculty that weren't listed in the first
Amanda Cody.
Amanda Cody, yeah. And Amanda and Susan are like the two main people who handle like the graduate certificate kind of thing. And the Serious Games certificate has also been around for a much longer period of time than the Games Activity BA, I think.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think it has, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Anyways.
What is the minor? Basically, it's 4 courses in a row that will take you 2 years, where you'll be working with the same people on teams, starting from with solo project, then 6 people, 7 or 8 people, and then going up to 12, I think, because even though it's around 40 students, but I think in the past years it's been closer to like 48-ish.
We have 48 this year.
Yeah, we have 48. I think we had 48 last year as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so closer to 48-ish. And basically you just have to be, to apply to it, you have to be in your second year, finishing your second year. So you'll start it as a junior. You'll work on it for 2 years. So you have to plan to be at MSU for 2 more years. and you have to have a grade, I think about above 2.75 or something. And I think that's about it.
We'll talk more about the requirements and how to get into it in a moment.
Yep.
Okay, so the 4 classes in the game dev minor are 445, 55, 97, and 98. So in 445, at least last semester, it was 3 projects. The first project is a solo project that's a couple weeks. You can either follow a tutorial or you can make your own custom game. I highly recommend you make your own custom game for a solo project. Then after that, you work with teams on 2 projects. So similar to Spartasoft Studio, where you're assigned to a team based on a couple preferences, and then you work with them like through the rest of the semester. So for 445, like you work on the solo project, then you have the team project 1, and then the team project 2. So you don't work on like multiple projects at the same time. You just have like you make 3 games by the end of 445. 455 is kind of similar, except there's no solo project. Instead, all 3 of them are team projects. So you have 3 team projects instead of 2 team projects. And 455 is kind of intended to be making prototypes and vertical slice games. So like a complete game that's really, really short. To continue on into 497, which is when one of your games from 455 optionally can go into full production, where you work on the project for the entire semester instead of a chunk of the semester. So this is like your like long-term. This is like the first like long-term project class that goes over the whole semester. It doesn't need to be from 455, but very often 455 games do go into 497. Then lastly, 498 is another long-term project class, and this one, like your team is connected to industry helpers. So basically, there's a couple game companies that send people to, well, not send. Basically, they make people available to like speak with, like usually through a meeting, to work with the team. So that looks like every week, like at some time of the day, meeting with like a couple of people who work like at Rockstar or who work at like Bungie, and you just like talk to them about like how the project's been going. Usually, it's a weekly meeting. At least the last time, like I was abducted into a 498 project last year, and we did like 1 meeting per week with Bungie. So, and we just like made like a little slides presentation every time with like the progress that we all made. So that's how that worked. But 498 is like the last course, and it's kind of meant to like you get like help from real people actually in the industry, and so you can get like a bunch of really nice feedback. And sometimes they'll also like give you requirements and stuff that kind of challenge you so that you can make really awesome projects that you can show off at the end of 498. And those are, but I think like these games are also the games that end up on like the posters over there. So if you see games that are like switched out like on the posters, those are produced like in these 4 classes.
It's both 497 and 498 because like the witch shit there.
Okay, yeah, it's 497, 498. Yeah.
So here are some of the industry partners that the program has worked with in the past. We got Santa Monica Studios, Bungie, Iron Galaxy, Blizzard, Rockstar. I believe last year there was also an indie panel. So instead of getting a bunch of people from one large company, you get a bunch of different indie devs working with you, which is pretty nice. Well, advising you more accurately.
These are the same companies that are still advising people.
Yes.
It hasn't changed.
This hasn't changed in a while.
Yeah.
So, but I'll just do the major instead. Do them both. There are 7 classes in the undergraduate program. Yeah, there are 7 classes in the undergraduate program that actually let you make your own custom game projects from scratch, and 4 of them are in the minor. The other 3 are the last project of 231, the last project of all of 482, and all of 495. But most of your opportunities, the majority of your opportunity to work on stuff in class and get advice from faculty directly through a course and work on these projects with teams of your peers in a very organized way, that's in the minor. It also it gets you ready a little bit for some of the studio prototyping experience, depending on the scale of the studio you go to. It is the program that's highly ranked. We've had the minor long before we had the major. The anything before the last 5 years of reviews, which we were already still in the top 10, was based on the minor alone. It is also, if you go through to 498, it puts you in directly with industry partners, which you can use as connections to maybe get an internship or even just get your foot in the door to anyone that they know as well. If you're intending to pursue a game dev job after graduation, the minor is your best bet.
I would want to add that, in summary, it's basically you graduate with a bunch of cool projects you can put on your portfolio and industry network connections with industry people. Basically, literally the same thing, but more. And as a computer science major and not a games major, maybe a bit better.
This isn't to like demean the major or anything. The major, as I said it at the top here, is a great way to explore and grow game dev skills in more focused areas rather than working on large team projects. You got specific classes for level design, systems design, art, and programming. Unfortunately, very few audio classes. Yeah.
Okay, so the prerequisites for the minor. Everybody has to take Task 117, Games and Interactivity, the Brian Wynn making a couple games in Unity classes, the 2D shooter project class. Everybody has to take that. And then depending on your discipline, you have to take two of one of the courses, or not one, you have to take two courses from this list. Your advisor can also give you this, but this is a mix of like some like game design classes, some art classes, some programming classes, and then some of these classes are only offered at certain times during the academic year. So do make sure that you plan and talk with your advisor to ensure that you can take at least two of these classes on this list before doing the minor. And then summer classes also count. So if you also maybe need to squeeze one of these in for a summer class, maybe these are offered over the summer as well. So yeah, that's the classes requirements.
So when should you apply? Apply as soon as you can, as soon as possible. You still have time. It's the deadline to apply is March 31st. Although they do review applications as they roll in, but it is mostly a lot of the applications do end up coming in as we approach March 31st. So Leprechaun wishes you luck. I guess the Leprechaun wishes you luck. It is although you should apply as soon as you can. Making sure your application is as good as you can reasonably get it in a quick time is worth waiting a little bit extra, as long as you're not on the deadline.
I think Leprechaun Wishes You Luck was a point relevant to an e-board member that gave this slide a couple of years ago who is not here anymore.
One thing I want to mention is that there is a secret technique they don't want you to know about, and it's applying while your stuff is not done yet. And you give them the link to your portfolio, and you finish it before they look at it. It's a high risk, low reward strategy.
You could do that.
Again.
You could. Nothing's stopping you from doing that, except the recommendation of other people. Anyways,
I mean, we have a whole month and a couple weeks.
Yes, we have
March
time.
31st.
You normally would want to apply your second semester of your sophomore year, but if you don't get in, you can get in as a junior and be a part-time student as a super senior, which is something that some people have done, or take the master's program. Yes, I'll in back.
Billy credits. I'm going to take sophomore right now. By the end of the semester, I'll get junior status. Am I able to apply for the game design double minor?
Do you plan on graduating early?
I can graduate by 28 if I want to.
The thing is that it's basically, do you want to spend the thing is minor kind of locks you in on 2 more years. So would you want to do that? If yes, then yes. If no, then no.
Yeah, the minor, I would honestly, with all the classes I've been taking, I would be able to graduate in 3 years. But because the minor forces you to take 2 years, I do end up literally for the next 2 semesters, I just have the minor. That's it. That's the only thing that I'm doing in MSU at least. So yeah, the minor does lock you into 2 years. So that is an important thing to know.
About saving me a year of college, but minor that now.
Yeah. The minor doesn't care about the amount of classes you've taken, just that you've taken these classes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's it called? Does getting your application in and reviewed early give you an advantage in the process?
I don't know.
Debatably,
Yeah.
we don't know. We read them.
Yeah. But let's just say there are rumors that not really.
But plenty of people apply on the final day and they get it.
Yeah.
So I did.
One
You did?
Yeah, I did.
No.
Okay. One also thing I would suggest doing is oh my god, I was gonna say a sentence and then I forgot. Oh yeah, you can talk to people. You can talk to Brian Wynn. You can talk to any other professor, talking to people actually fucking works. Like, I don't know how to say it differently, but there are people who are in the minor classes who did not get into the minor for one or the other reason, but they talk to people and were able to work on the minor classes without actually being a part of the minor.
There are also people who are in the minor who didn't originally make it in the minor, but because they knew professors and they could have professors vouch for their skills, they got into the minor anyway.
And even people who don't know the professors, they can just like actually have a conversation because the professor is a human being, and you can talk to them.
Yeah, and also in 498 especially, like people will recruit students who are not in the minor onto minor projects sometimes. Like, I mean, I was a member of Spartasoft Studio a couple of years ago, and when I was on a team, like a couple people, like somebody ended up inviting me onto their 498 team, and that's how I was able to do 498 for an independent study last year. So, like, people also get brought on, like, to do independent studies and things like that as well. So, and there are, like, I mean, at least last year, there were plenty of people in teams that were recruited, like, who are not, like, in 498, but who are still recruited onto a team to help out with their 498 game. So that is, like, absolutely another way that, like, people get into the minor as well, in that way.
Statement of purpose. Basically, talk about why. Talk about yourself. Talk about your like involvement in games in general. Basically, the point of it is to know where you stand, what is your opinion, and in addition to that, to not let people who don't care about games be a part of it. So, for example, there was a problem a couple of years back. A bunch of CSC students applied who actually did not care about games. And there were insane amount of CSC students who did not care about games. They just wanted an easy minor because they're like, oh, that's for easy courses. Basically, just write that you're passionate about games. Why you're passionate, it's something to back it up. So just attending Spartasoft or participating in Spartasoft Studio, participating in game jams, stuff like that will already set you apart from a large amount of people who just don't care.
It's insane the amount of games majors that never go to any like student events at all. So being in this room is already a huge step, believe me.
Yeah.
Okay, so evil secret advice from the professors. So the main things that are primarily considered when selecting students: the GPA, obviously. Also, though, whether you've completed all the requirements for the minor, but then also the big one, professors' experience with you in past classes. If you are in any classes with people who are in the faculty, be a good student. Like, reach out to them if you have any problems. Like, just be a good, responsive student that turns in high quality work. Professors will note that. And the thing is, professors, like the faculty, sit down, like, and discuss with each other to discuss minor applicants. So if you have if you have a professor or two who has worked with you and who knows your style and like just knows like who you are as a person and like what you're capable of, they can vouch for you, and that will put you way ahead of the people who kind of didn't really do much or haven't really taken like that many classes like in person with them. So like definitely be a good student. Your relationships with these professors are not your elective professors who you meet once in like some random department and then never again. Like relationships with professors do carry even through the minor and into like your full like long-term career as well. So yeah, like definitely like build good relationships with your professors because that is a genuine thing that affects your application, your application chances.
One other thing in regards to the prerequisites, doing well in the prerequisites, like getting a good getting a good grade in the prereqs, is also kind of important. There are some people who have not gotten who didn't get into the minor because, or at least their stated reasoning was that they did too poorly or did so poorly on, like there are people in the minor who have maybe failed the prereq and then took it again, passed it, and therefore fulfilled the prerequisites, but yet were not still accepted into the minor. That has happened before. So doing well in them does really help.
Oh, yeah. Reach out. Talk to everybody. Talk to professors. Talk to the alumni. Talk to us. Talk to people who sit right next to you. Talk to people. Do that. Do that.
Yep.
It's good. Good places to get pieces for your portfolio. Game dev classes. If you want to get stuff to put on your portfolio, the game dev classes are a great option. like all the stuff for the game dev classes are opportunities to show yourself. Your portfolio doesn't have to have, well, most portfolios don't have full completed games on them. Like you can put game jam projects, you can put like design projects, you can put just stuff. If there's stuff that you are really proud of and you think is relevant at all to games, you could put that there. Like I think my minor application, I made a Minecraft map before coming to college, and I put that there just for fun. So yeah. So it's a good idea. Just put stuff that is relevant to game development in any way. Outside of that, independent projects. You want to go above and beyond. Making your own independent stuff just really makes you stand out in general, especially on the minor application. Like having your own game that you work on the side, like is pretty much a ticket into the minor, unless you like had a really awful experience with your professors, I guess. But yeah, like having independent projects and also student org involvement, Spartasoft Studio projects. I know some of you guys are at Spartasoft Studio. It's a great way to build up your like resume. It's a great way to build up your portfolio for the minor and show, hey, I have projects and I can actually work with the team and deliver stuff with the team. That's really important when professors are evaluating you. And Spartasoft Studio is a great way to kind of like prove that you can like make cool stuff through that. So yeah.
So, what do current 455 students think?
What do you think?
What?
What do you think, your current 455 student, about the minor?
This is just like a slight
You
talk.
work with other people on
Oh.
projects. Although I wish the projects were longer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The projects do feel pretty short, admittedly. Like making 3 whole entire games in one semester, it's a little intense. You have like 4 to 5 weeks to make every project. It's intense. It's fun, but also a lot.
Yeah.
So, which is good.
The minor classes take up a lot of your time. If you can knock out a bunch of prereqs and gen eds and electives before you enter the minor and save yourself some multitasking, that is so nice.
It's also very much a you get out what you put in kind of thing. Like, because there are people who don't really do much work, or people who have a bunch of other stuff that they're handling, so they can't get as much done. Like, it is very much like the amount of stuff that you do, like, returns to you. And the thing is, when you are put onto a team, your assignment is not make these things unless you have a producer. Like, if you have your producer will probably ask you to do a couple things, but you're not assigned to make this specific thing. The assignment for the game dev minor projects is make a video game, and that's it. Like, you're expected to make something that's interesting and like expressive and just impressive in general.
And fun.
So, yeah, and fun. Yeah, well, fun is optional, you know. But the thing is, it very much is a you put out what you get out what you put in kind of thing. And if you don't do a lot on projects, or if you do a lot on projects, that will reflect like people's reputations with you will be affected by that. So it's important to be honest, be communicative, and just be a great person to work with, no matter what's going on.
Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention that is important is not only doing work, but actually like trying to improve and trying to do better. And not only you, but also trying to help others get better. You'll be working with the same people for 2 years in a row. And the thing is that if it so happens that, oh, I work with some person and I didn't like it, and it's something that they could easily change if they just knew, talking to them about it could first of all help them, but like to actually learn what's the problem, how to work with it, but also help you in the future. Imagine this sort of scenario. You work with a person, you said you were amazing to work with, while in reality you weren't. Just talking to them and just giving them the idea that they can improve can impact your future projects if you end up like on a team with the same person. Basically, you'll be working with the same people. You should like, try to help others because it will both help others and help you.
Professors have also mentioned this in like talks before, but the people that you work with are people that you may encounter again, like in real life in the industry, like in some capacity. So like make sure that you build good relationships with these people so that like one day you might be applying to something and somebody might say, oh, that guy worked on my project and he was really cool to work with, so I'm going to vouch for him and help him get like a job at this company. Like it is a real thing that does happen. So like having like this is like kind of your first time to establish long-term relationships that go into your career as a game developer. So it's very
And
important.
it also works the other way around. If you're unpleasant to work with, people will not recommend you and try to avoid you.
That is very
Yes.
true. That is very true.
So we're gonna have an optional portfolio review. We can go around as board members and check out anybody's portfolio if you can pull them up. Although I think we should probably just go to the next slide, end the meeting officially, and then just do the portfolio
Well, the
afterwards.
next slide is the last one.
Exactly.
We're done.
So, woo!
We did it.
Yeah. You should take attendance if you hadn't already done that. This is another QR code to the alumni help form. You should totally fill that out if you have a question or if you just want to talk to somebody. And yeah, so A-Board will stick around for a little bit. We'll review any portfolios. But for now, we're going to adjourn the meeting with the clap. All right. 1, 2.